Hi, I'm Dan Schumaier, President of Ear Technology Corporation, and today I'd like to tell you about a new product that we have coming on the market called ClikShooters. ClikShooters is a patented product using our ClikFIT technology that provides not only hearing protection from impulse noise, but it also allows one to hear sounds before the gunshot goes off. So we can actually amplify sounds for listening to speech or listening to game in the woods, but then when you shoot, the device will actually shut off and you won't be exposed to the noise. Let me show you how these things work. We'll open this package up here. Inside the package, you're going to find a carrying case, and you're going to find two ClikShooters, and you're going to find instructions also. First thing you want to do is look at the tips. They come with two different size tips. The size tips that are on there are the small and the average or medium. And then we also have some larger tips that can be placed on the tubes. So you can see quite a difference between the two size tips. So the first order of business is to select the tip that's appropriate for your ear canal. When you're fitting the ClikShooters, you want to make sure that you've got this triple flanged tube in your ear very snugly, or very tight, to provide the maximum amount of attenuation or noise reduction. Now this is the one for the left ear, so I'm going to simply, before I put a battery in, I'm going to put this behind my ear, and I generally do this better with my glasses off. Then I'm going to grab the tip and I'm going to insert it into my ear canal. And you can actually reach up and around and pull this up. But what you're going to see is now I've got this in my ear canal very tight. It's a firm fit, and that ear is really blocked up. If this tip that's on there to start with would not provide the appropriate reduction in noise, the maximum reduction in noise, then what you want to do is take the tip, take it out of your ear. You're going to remove the thin tube by turning it on a 90-degree angle, pulling it off. And then you're going to exchange tips. To exchange tips, it's a little bit hard. You've got to kind of pull that out. And then you're going to slide this back into the larger tip, and when you put it in there all the way. Now to put the thin tube back on the ClikShooters, or the processor, you're going to stick it right straight on, push it in. This is all in the instructions. To take it off, 90-degree angle and pull it off. To put it in, straight in, like that. So now I've got the larger tip on, and I'll put that on my ear. And this most likely will not fit on me because, well, it does fit. I think I like the other one better. It fit tighter. So I've determined that the best fit for me is the tip that was on there, so I'm going to remove this one here. Let's take this off first. I'm putting the smaller tip on, and I'm inserting it. Notice when I insert it all the way so you don't see any of the hard plastic there. Now we're going to put it onto there we go, we're ready to go now. So we've determined that's the right size for me. We'll keep these other tips somewhere else. Now, the next thing you want to do is insert the batteries. If you look at the back of the ClikShooters, battery door opens like this. And actually when you open the battery door, you can see a little plus sign right here. This uses a 312 battery that's commonly available in stores. It'll have a brown tab on it. What you want to do is remove the tab from the battery. Now if you look at the batteries, it's got a flat side and a rounded side. So I'm simply going to take the rounded side and put it down into the battery compartment. And it's flush across. And then the battery door will shut very easily. Let's do the other one now. Open it up. Put the rounded side down, and then the door will shut very easily. To turn the ClikShooter off, you don't have to open the battery door all the way, but you want to open it about one click, and that will disconnect the battery contacts, saving the battery. So when you're not using these things, you want to open this up one click. Okay? Now, we've got a right and we've got a left, and you can kind of look at it and see how it goes in your ear. So now the next thing you want to do is you want to program the ClikShooter for you. And the way this is done with this rocker switch here. We have an upper and a lower rocker switch. That controls every function. Now we're getting ready to set the ClikShooters up so that it's at a level that you like. Simply what you want to do is you want to put the ClikShooter in your ear. And I'm going to put it over my ear and put it on. Put it in tightly. Now, when I first turn it on, ClikShooters has, I'll demonstrate with the other one. ClikShooters has 5 different algorithms stored in the processor. So when I first put it on, I'm on algorithm number 1. And so I'm simply going to say, well, let's see if I like a sound a little bit differently. I can simply press the upper rocker switch, which I'm going to do here. And I heard 2 beeps. And I'm listening through the processor now, and I think that sounds pretty good. But I might say I want it a little bit louder. To do that, I can press the upper rocker switch again. I just heard 3 beeps, so this is getting louder in my ear. And I can go through that all the way up to 5 beeps until I find the listening that I like, the level of listening that I like. Once I find that level of listening, and I can go down too. If 3 was too loud, I can go back down to 2 by pressing the lower one. And I hear 2 beeps. As a matter of fact, that sounds a little bit better. And I'm going to keep that right there. So the way I lock that in is I'm going to either hold the upper or the rocker switch down for 10 seconds. And I'll hear a long beep. Once I hear that long beep, I know I'm programmed. And we don't have to do this again. Now, once it's programmed, then what happens? This rocker switch becomes a volume control. Even though this device is adjusting millions of times a second to keep the level where you set it, there may be times when you want it a little bit louder. And the way you can do that is simply by tapping, press and release, the upper rocker switch will make it louder, or press and release the lower switch, and it'll make things softer. So this acts as a volume control once it's set. When you leave the shooting range or when you go home to change, and you open this up, and you go back and start it up again at the next session where you're hunting or you're shooting, it's going to go back to the center where you had it to start with. So it readjusts back to the center where we set it to start with. One thing I didn't mention when you're resetting the ClikShooters, if you want to change to a different setting, is that you, again, open the battery door, put a battery in there, press the rocker switch down, close the battery door, wait for 20 seconds, and then after 20 seconds, release the rocker switch and open the battery door. The ClikShooters are now reset, and you can go through programming as you did initially. What ClikShooters do is they're amplifying sound, so I can hear if someone's talking to me now, I'd be able to hear them just fine. But once there's an impulse sound, such as a gunshot, they actually shut off very, very quickly. And so that I'm not exposed to that gunshot. These devices provide an NRR of 24 dB, but then we also have done some testing from a private lab for impulse peak insertion loss, IPIL. And basically on the back, we show the number of impulses you'd be exposed to per day for the different levels. One thing I didn't mention that is inside the ClikShooters clamshell, there's a card that says you can upgrade your ClikShooters by going to custom hearing protection. So you can actually replace the tips that we have here, and you can go to your audiologist or your local hearing healthcare provider and have an impression made of your ear. And we've got the instructions in there on how to do that. Then you will simply take the tubing and the impression will come back. It'll be made of a silicone like this with a nice long ear canal. And this will be, we'll have inserted in, within the impression, we'll have inserted a tube, just like I'm doing here. That tube simply clips to the ClikShooters. And now we're going to put a custom plug in the ear. And what that's going to do is going to make it maybe a little bit easier if you're out in the woods all day long for you to leave these things in. Might even provide, some people say it provides a little bit more comfort because once you put them in there, and it also provides a little bit more protection because now your ear's got a solid plug in it. When it's in your ear, it looks something like this. And it's very comfortable. This is a device that will protect your hearing. It's going to let you hear better in the woods. It's going to let you communicate with your friends on the range, but when you shoot, it's going to protect your hearing. So if you have any questions about our ClikShooters, just give us a call and we'd be glad to help you.